You're sitting there scrolling, maybe sipping coffee, maybe telling yourself you'll start prepping soon. Then one Tuesday afternoon, the power blinks off and just stays off. No explanation, no ETA, nothing. 10 minutes later, the cell network dies. Your router becomes a plastic brick. Somewhere, a power engineer is screaming into a dead phone line because the grid just failed in a way it was never built to handle. And 99% of people will still be thinking, it'll be back any minute. But let me ask you something. What if it doesn't come back tonight? What if it doesn't come back this week? What if this isn't a glitch? It's the first domino in one of the 12 ways society actually falls apart? Today, I'm not giving you Hollywood apocalypse. I'm giving you the boring, realistic failure modes that actually end civilizations and the brutally honest gaps in your so-called readiness. If that makes you uncomfortable, good. Discomfort keeps you alive. Before we dive in, here's the binary choice. You can keep thinking this is entertainment, or you can treat this like the briefing it is. If you want to be in the tiny percent who actually survive the boring, ugly collapse, hit subscribe, stick around, and start taking notes. Way number 1. Grid failure and cascading infrastructure collapse. You've built your whole life on electricity you don't control, from water pumps to payment systems to traffic lights. The grid isn't a magic wallpaper, it's old, fragile, and running closer to the edge than they tell you. Let me paint you a picture. A geomagnetic storm, a coordinated cyber attack, or just a heat wave popping transformers like popcorn. Regions go dark. That darkness doesn't just mean no Netflix. It means no pumps moving water, no refrigeration keeping food safe, no fuel getting from tank farms to gas stations. Here's the ugly readiness check. Can you function in your own home for 2 weeks with zero grid power, zero tap water, zero credit cards? Not cozy camping vibes. I mean toilets not flushing, food spoiling, gas lines dry. If your plan is candles and vibes, you're done. Your tactical baseline. Minimum 2 weeks of stored water at 1 gallon per person per day, plus a way to purify more. Alternate cooking that doesn't depend on the grid. Cash on hand, and a way to light and heat without setting your house on fire. While they're waiting on the utility app notification, you've already shifted into gridless operations mode. Way number 2. Financial system seizure and currency failure. Most people think, my money, when they look at a bank balance. That's adorable. What you have is a number in someone else's database, contingent on confidence and uptime. Take away either, and that wealth evaporates faster than your patience at the DMV. Imagine banks closing temporarily, withdrawals limited for stability, cards declining at the grocery store along with everyone else's. Truckers aren't moving goods for IOUs. Importers aren't unloading ships for a currency nobody trusts. Supply chains don't care about your feelings. They care about payment clearing. Honest readiness check. If the card networks died tonight, how many days before your food runs out? How many ways do you have to trade value without swiping plastic? Cash, barter goods, skills people actually need? Most of you are rich in screen numbers and broke in reality. Your tactical move is diversification. Some cash, some hard goods people will always want. Food staples, hygiene items, tools, skills, fixing things, growing food, medical basics. When the system freezes, those become your real currency while everyone else is screaming at frozen ATMs. Way number 3, supply chain breakdown. Your city is a giant vending machine with a 3-day refill cycle. Trucks stop, shelves empty. That's it. Every essential in your life is 48 to 72 hours away at any given moment, living on highways and warehouse racks. Let me paint the failure. Fuel shortage, strike, border closure, war, pandemic restrictions. Pick your flavor. Warehouses can't ship. Truckers can't move. Your supermarket becomes a museum of bare metal and broken expectations. People don't riot because they're angry. They riot because their kids are hungry and they have no plan B. Readiness check. If no new food entered your region for 1 month, are you okay? Or are you in that aisle wrestling over the last can of soup? Do you even know how many calories you eat in a day? Or are you just vibing until DoorDash stops existing? Your tactic is boring but effective. Build depth. 2 weeks of food is a start. 3 months is where comfort begins. Nothing exotic. Grains, beans, canned protein, fats, spices. Rotate it so it stays fresh. While everyone else is trying to cook expired ketchup packets, you're eating like royalty out of plastic buckets. Way number 4. Water system failure. Civilization is just plumbing plus paperwork. Shut off either and things get feral fast. Municipal water depends on power, chemicals, and maintenance. Take away one link and what comes out of the tap is either nothing or worse than nothing. Picture this. Boil water notices spreading across city social media, then the taps sputter air. Bottled water sells out in hours. Toilets stop being toilets and start being biohazard buckets. Dehydration and dysentery don't care how many followers you had yesterday. Readiness check. How many actual gallons of water can you put your hands on right now? No driving, no ordering. Do you have containers? A way to filter puddle water, roof runoff, or creek water without rolling the disease dice? Most of you have better cases for your phones than for your water storage. Your tactic: store big, filter smart. Think multiple 5-gallon jugs, bathtub liners, rain catchment if you can swing it, plus a gravity filter and backup methods like bleach or boiling. Water is your first grid failure line. While they're smashing each other over the last case of bottled water, you're topping off containers and quietly disappearing. Way number 5. Pandemic and medical system overload. You've seen a taste. That wasn't the big one. That was a pop quiz. Systems strained, supply chains cracked, hospitals filled, and that was with internet, power, and trucks still mostly functioning. Now imagine something with higher mortality, more chaos, less trust in authority. People ignore guidance until it's too late. Healthcare workers burn out or stay home. Critical medications run short. Elective anything disappears. Your broken arm starts competing with severe pneumonia for attention. Readiness check. If pharmacies closed for 2 months, what happens to you? Any daily meds? Any chronic issues you've been pretending don't exist? You got basic first aid supplies, or are you planning to use a dish towel and hope? Your tactic is not playing doctor, it's buying time. Build a small reserve of essential meds where legal, stockpile over-the-counter essentials, and learn basic wound care, fever management, and infection prevention. While others crowd into waiting rooms turned Petri dishes, you're treating minor stuff at home and lowering your exposure. Way number 6. Political fracture and civil unrest. Every country has a breaking point where we becomes us versus them. Economic stress, cultural conflict, contested elections. It doesn't really matter which match hits the powder. Once trust in institutions collapses, the streets fill up. You've been trained to think the danger is the other side. Cute. The real danger is the collapse of order, emergency services overwhelmed, law enforcement defensive instead of responsive, normal people deciding rules don't apply to them anymore because nobody's enforcing them. Readiness check. Do you know how to make your home boring and invisible when crowds start moving? Do you have a way to leave the hot zone if your neighborhood becomes the new protest map? Or are you flying a giant flag on your lawn announcing, "Loot me first"? Your tactic: gray man, low profile, exit routes, reinforce doors, manage light and noise discipline, keep opinions off your front porch and bumper. Know 2 ways out of your area that don't depend on a single highway or rail line. While they're live streaming the chaos, you're either locked down or already gone. Way number 7. Cyber and data collapse events. Your life is a stack of logins and cloud accounts. Banking, medical records, identity, work files. Take away authentication and integrity, and reality fuzzes. A mass data wipe, ransomware on national scale, or hostile actor frying key servers can make prove who you are the hardest task in your day. Picture trying to get paid without working financial networks, cross a border without verifiable identity, or even refill a prescription when your records are temporarily unavailable. No need for nukes when you can just turn a civilization into amnesiac paperwork. Readiness check. If every account reset and 2-factor app on your phone died, how screwed are you? You got printed copies of critical documents, offline backups of important info, or is everything saved somewhere you can't reach without a password you forgot 3 years ago? Your tactic is analog redundancy. Hard copies of IDs, property documents, medical info, offline backups on drives stored safely, password systems that don't live in a single compromised app. While others line up outside government offices begging for replacement identity, you've got proofs ready in triplicate. Way number 8. Resource scarcity and energy descent. Cheap, constant energy is the invisible skeleton holding up everything you like. Fertilizer, medicine, transport, manufacturing, they're all fossil fuel stories with better branding. When that flow gets choked through depletion, war, embargo, or policy shock, the ripples hit food and materials first. Imagine fuel rationing, rolling blackouts, sudden spikes in gas and heating prices. Farms can't afford to run equipment. Factories pause. Plastics, metals, spare parts, everything stretches. You don't get empty shelves overnight. You get slowly shrinking choices and rapidly rising costs until something snaps. Readiness check. Is your whole life built on daily driving and constant deliveries? Could you shrink your area of operations without your world collapsing? Do you know how to keep warm without cranking a thermostat, move yourself without gasoline, feed yourself if food prices triple? Your tactic: reduce dependency before you're forced to. Learn efficient heating, insulate, get at least one non-fuel dependent transport option like a bike or your own feet plus decent boots. Grow something, anything, just to learn the skill. While others panic at the pump, you're already operating like energy is precious. Way number 9, climate-driven megadisasters. I don't care which chart you believe, the weather is getting weirder, and your infrastructure wasn't built for weird. Heat domes, 100-year floods every other summer, fire seasons turning entire regions into tinderboxes. Even if civilization doesn't fall globally, it can fall where you live. Picture evacuating on 12 hours' notice because a fire jumped the highway, or spending 2 weeks in a gym shelter after a storm chews your roof into confetti. That's not sci-fi, that's the news cycle. The system can't protect everyone at once. Some people get left to figure it out alone. Readiness check. Do you know your local hazards by name and map? Flood zones, fire lines, industrial sites, chemical trains. You got a go bag ready to throw in a car, or are you planning to wander around stuffing chargers into a backpack while sirens wail? Your tactic: area intelligence and evacuation readiness. Map your hazards, identify safe directions, keep a packed bag with essentials for 72 hours, plus copies of documents and some cash. Have a rendezvous plan with your people. While others argue about what to bring, you're already wheels up. Way number 10, large-scale war and geopolitical disruption. Not necessarily nukes raining from the sky, though that's one flavor, but trade wars, blockades, cyber warfare, and proxy conflicts that turn global cooperation into global sabotage. The world is more interconnected than ever, and less trusting than it's been in decades. You don't need a warhead to wreck a country. You just need to choke critical imports: food, fuel, rare earths, electronics. Every phone and car you own is a souvenir from a supply chain that crosses multiple borders. When those borders harden, your tech turns into very expensive trash once it breaks. Readiness check. Could you maintain your current lifestyle if imports stopped for a year? No new electronics, parts, or cheap foreign manufactured goods. Do you own anything durable that isn't intentionally designed to die in 3 years? Do you know how to repair instead of replace? Your tactic: durable goods and repair skills. Buy once, cry once, heavy-duty tools, analog backups, stuff that can be fixed instead of tossed. Learn basic repair, sewing, sharpening, improvising. While everyone else mourns their dead gadgets, you're keeping gear alive with a screwdriver and some patience. Way number 11, technological disruption and mass unemployment. Civilization doesn't just fall with explosions. Sometimes it quietly collapses when millions of people become economically useless in the existing system. Automation, AI, outsourcing, whatever label you stick on it, the result is the same. Too many people. Not enough meaningful work that pays. Picture whole industries hollowed out over 5 to 10 years. Gig work saturates. Social safety nets strain. Crime, addiction, and political extremism grow in the cracks. You don't need a meteor when you have a slow burn that leaves people angry, broke, and desperate. Readiness check. Does your skill set exist only inside a cubicle or an app? If the platform that pays you vanished tomorrow, what could you trade in a local cash or barter economy? Are you building competence that matters in the physical world, or just clicking buttons for paycheck serotonin? Your tactic: stack practical skills on top of digital ones. Gardening, carpentry, basic mechanics, medical, security awareness, logistics. Plus people skills: calm leadership, conflict de-escalation, teaching. While others spiral when their job title disappears, you adapt because you were never just the job. Way number 12. Slow moral and institutional decay. This one's sneaky. No big bang, no single day where everything snaps. Just endless small compromises, rules bent for convenience, corruption normalized, and the quiet understanding that nobody is really in charge anymore. The collapse you only notice when you look back. You see it when laws aren't enforced evenly, when scams become every day, when doing the right thing becomes a punchline. Trust evaporates. Communities fragment. People stop cooperating except under force or desperation. Civilization is cooperation at scale. When that fails, everything else is just expensive rubble. Readiness check. Do you know your neighbors' names or just their Wi-Fi networks? Could you form a trustworthy micro-community if big systems fade, or are you surrounded by strangers with no shared expectations? Your gear matters, but your people will keep you alive or get you killed. Your tactic: build real local relationships before you need them. Trade favors, share tools, host a barbecue, quietly find out who's competent, who's stable, who's dangerous. You're mapping the human terrain. While others discover who their neighbors really are in the middle of a crisis, you already know your allies and your no-go zones. Now here's the darker truth. These 12 ways don't wait in line. They stack. Grid failure worsens water failure, which worsens disease, which fuels unrest, which breaks institutions. Collapses don't happen one at a time. They dogpile. That's why your "I'll buy a generator" fantasy is laughably undercooked. And no, your rifle and 3 days of MREs don't make you invincible. This isn't about being some lone wolf action hero. This is about making boring, unsexy decisions now so you're not fighting 12 fires at once later. Better odds, not guarantees. Nobody gets guarantees. So where are you really at? Let's be brutal. Do you have at least 2 weeks of water and food you actually eat? A way to cook and stay warm without the grid? Copies of your critical documents offline? A basic medical kit and the knowledge to use it? If not, you're not prepping. You're cosplaying. Here's your immediate path out of fantasy land. First, audit your life for single points of failure. One bank, one road, one job, one grocery store, one water source. Write them down. The list will scare you. Good. Fear is a tool when you aim it at the right target. Second, build resilience in layers. Not perfection. Layers. 2 weeks, then a month, then 3. Start with water, food, meds, documents, light, heat, security, comms. Nothing exotic, nothing cinematic. Just redundancy and options. The more options you can create, the less any single failure can take from you. Third, shrink your illusions. Stop telling yourself, the government will handle it, when you've seen them struggle to plow snow, let alone manage overlapping crises. Stop believing your neighbors are harmless just because they wave on trash day. Accept that in real stress, people change, and a small percentage already aren't right. Fourth, expand your skills. Pick one new capability this month. Water treatment, first aid, navigation, gardening, radio, home repair. Not just watching videos, doing the thing. Failing at it now is free. Failing later costs you blood, time, and possibly people you care about. And finally, build your people. One trusted friend who gets it is worth more than a room full of strangers in matching morale patches. Quietly find the ones who show up, keep their word, and stay calm when stuff breaks. That's your real insurance policy. You can pretend this is paranoid, or you can look around at the last decade and realize the trend line isn't more stable and predictable every year. This isn't doom for doom's sake. This is acknowledging the attack surface on your life and doing something about it while time still exists. So here's your choice, and it's as simple as it gets. You can close this, shrug, and go back to scrolling, hoping that the 12 ways society falls apart never show up on your street. Or you can decide that today is the day you stop being background character number 4 in everyone else's disaster. Open a new tab right now and price out 3 things: bulk water storage, staple foods, and a real medical kit. Then walk your neighborhood and map exits, hazards, and resources. When you get back, start a written list of the first 10 weaknesses you're going to fix. Not someday. Now. If you're part of the 0.1% who actually act instead of fantasize, hit subscribe, drop a comment with the weakest part of your current plan and what you're going to fix this week. Class dismissed. Your move.